The hotel was built in the 1920s and has been sitting abandoned for decades. No one knows what happened there, but a mysterious millionaire has decided to purchase it and renovate it. Their intentions are unknown, and there are rumors that the place is haunted. As construction is nearly complete, guests are being invited on tours of the site as a marketing strategy before the hotel officially opens up for reservations. Groups are welcomed into the lobby, which appears to be completely renovated. There is no one behind the front desk, but the group's tour guide appears abruptly from a back room and jumps immediately into a spiel about the history of the hotel and safety instructions for the tour. The tour guide then takes them through the ballroom, where the guests are startled by the chandelier falling from the ceiling and catching itself before it hits the ground, and by the tour guide throwing chairs out of the way angrily. They then travel through the kitchen, where the chef can be heard screaming at his staff in the kitchen as the clanging of loud pots and pans censors his words. Outside, guests are taken through a normal-looking construction site. There are tools, construction materials, and equipment strewn about, with a few workers actively doing work on the exterior of the building. Some of the equipment also seems to have a mind of its own, giving guests a startle as they randomly make loud noises and even fall towards guests without anyone touching them. Guests are then crammed into a service elevator to take them up to the penthouse suite. When the tour guide presses a button for the top floor, they are electrocuted and die. The elevator then begins to shake and plummets down to the basement floor. The illusion of falling is completed using fake elevator walls, which will actually move and make the guests feel like they're falling. When they drop to the basement, the door falls out, revealing what appears to be an undercover mafia operation.
Guests step out onto an elevated maintenance floor full of pipes and walk through the air ducts, which are simulated using an inflatable claustrophobia tunnel and sudden loud puffs of air. They also hear the squeaking of mice and walk through spider webs. The end of the hallway leads to a garbage chute slide, with an alternate access ramp next to it, into the smelly trash room. Guests are seemingly locked into the trash room until a mafia member throws the door open from the other side and launches a trash bag across the room. The group is then escorted out of the trash room and into an old-fashioned lounge area. Armed mafia members usher them through the basement hotel hallway. Other mafia men, hiding among massive piles of drugs and other illegal substances, yell at the group, while others yell at each other in thick Italian accents in the background. The group is then pushed through another creepy hotel hallway, after which they are yelled at by more mafia men who are surrounded by massive piles of money. The men yell at guests to keep it moving, and yell things like, "What are you looking at?" as the guests pass. One adds, "You think you're going to get out of here alive? Forget about it." As the guests start to notice cinder blocks stacking up, a man with cinder blocks attached to his feet clonks towards the group, screaming about avoiding cement shoes. The group ventures deeper into a maze of cinder blocks. The bare color, combined with an intense slow strobing effect, disorients the guests as they find their way. Anticipation builds as the only sound heard is a loud scraping and blocks being dropped. There is a mafia member organizing blocks and tying rope, who, upon seeing the group, threatens to give them all cement shoes, reaching for their feet with the rope. Suddenly the underboss enters with two other mafia men, all pointing guns and screaming that the big boss is waiting, rushing the guests out of the cinder block maze and into the truck loading zone. The group of guests then passes the mafia boss, a giant animatronic figure in the center of the floor. He moves jerkily and laughs ominously at the group as they pass. The mafia men push the group onto a semi-truck which begins to move. Gunshots are heard and a side door opens abruptly as members of the FBI rescue the guests. Throughput of guests will be controlled using multiple tour guides and escorts throughout the house. Groups will start in the lobby area and be guided through the ballroom, kitchen, and construction site areas into the elevator, where the tour guide is killed. Guests will then make their way through the air ducts and down the slide, unguided, until they exit the trash room and are met by two mafia men who escort them as hostages, up until the cinder block scene. The underboss will push the group out of the cinder block maze, past the big boss, and into the semi-truck, which will move slightly on a track before the FBI men rescue and release the guests back into the amusement center.